It has been quite some time since I posted a video touching on political issues. However, a recent article in the Los Angeles Times detailing how former Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy's leadership Political Action Committee has spent north of $1 million on high-end resorts, private jets, and fine dining has caused me to resurrect my Pendejo of the Week award that I have reserved for the worst of the worst offenders of the public conscience. Keep watching to learn how McCarthy has been dispensing largesse from his largely unregulated Leadership Political Action Committee. The headline from the recent Los Angeles Times article by Paul Pringle and Adam Elmarek reads, Kevin McCarthy uses Political Action Committee to lavish cash on high-end resorts, private jets, and fine dining. And the article goes on to detail how McCarthy's Leadership Political Action Committee has spent north of $1 million on luxuries that look to me to be at most tenuously connected to legitimate political activities. This amount far exceeds leadership PAC expenditures by other recent House and Senate leadership figures. This chart from the LA Times article shows that McCarthy has spent an order of magnitude more money from his leadership PAC than has Senate leaders Schumer, Harry Reid, and McConnell, and recent House Speakers Boehner, Ryan, Johnson, Pelosi, and Jeffries. When I first saw this chart in the LA Times, the stench of corruption almost wafted upwards from the page towards me. The LA Times article goes into great detail about spending by McCarthy's Leadership Political Action Committee at the very pricey Terrania Resort on the Palos Verdes Peninsula, more than 100 miles to the south of McCarthy's home district in Bakersfield, California. According to the article, rambling above the rust-colored cliffs of the Palos Verdes Peninsula, Terrania Resort is known for its ocean views, world-ranked spa, and villas that can command $3,000 a night or more. The property is less well known as a gathering spot for federal elected officials and the campaign donors they wine and dine. But one politician was very familiar with the luxurious resort. Former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. In 2.5 years, the Bakersfield Republicans' election committees dropped nearly $250,000 at Terrania, with most of the money coming from a thinly regulated Leadership Political Action Committee. What I personally find both curious and intriguing is that McCarthy himself has rarely been spotted at Terrania at the times that these bills totaling nearly $250,000 were being incurred. What on earth could be going on? If you have an explanation for why McCarthy was spending so much at Terrania, please post it in the comments section of the video. According to the LA Times article, from 2012 through this past June, McCarthy's Leadership Committee has raised more than $26 million and has spent about $14.7 million on contributions to GOP candidates and other committees. Federal Election Commission rules cap annual donations to these Leadership Political Action Committees at $5,000 per contributor. The records show that large sums of money came from corporations and organizations such as Native American tribes, but many other donations came from individuals, including corporate executives, venture capitalists, attorneys, consultants, farmers, and retirees. There are straightforward rules for how money from non-leadership campaign committees may be spent, and penalties for breaking them. Siphoning off dollars for personal use from campaign accounts that are not leadership political action committees is illegal, and violations have led to criminal convictions of former members of Congress. But the regulations for leadership PACs have been ill-defined since the Federal Election Commission authorized the committees in the late 1970s. Critics contend that the prohibition on personal use of campaign money, outlined under the Federal Election Campaign Act, also applies to the leadership committees. But they have been unable to persuade a majority of the Federal Election Commission to take that position. In its decision last winter, the Federal Election Commission ruled 4-2 that nothing in the law bars politicians from using leadership PAC money for personal expenses. Think about that for a minute. With this in mind, Kevin McCarthy wins my Pendejo of the Week award for the way his unregulated leadership PAC has used contributions to curry favor from so many political figures.